Hey Doodlers, this is Adam Sasinski and welcome to day 24 of the free 40-day How to Doodle course. Within this lesson, we're going to look at how to doodle three-dimensional shapes. Three-dimensional shapes, well, it's not really a necessary tool to learn how to doodle because you can create your doodles in a two-dimensional world. But if you want to add a little bit more variety to your doodles and show them from different angles and perspectives, then learning how to doodle three-dimensional shapes can certainly help. I'll just quickly, to start with, let's just go through some three-dimensional shapes and I'll show you how to doodle them. We'll begin with a box. So we've got a box, so let's doodle a typical box like that. And then what I would normally do is extend, 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 do a line like that and a line like that, and then we have a box. What about a pyramid? Well, a pyramid kind of look like this. Like that. There's our pyramid. Kind of, let's do that one again. There we go. That looks a little bit better, a little bit more proportional. Not that it really matters because, like we mention all the time, these things don't matter if it's not perfect, if the lines are not perfect. Okay, how about a cake? So again, we'll kind of do a side pyramid. Like this. Again, see, the lines are not perfect. There we go. There's our cake. Okay, how about we doodle a cone? So cone is rounded, so a little bit different. Kind of circle, circle, and then we have a cone. What else could we doodle? Well, I guess we could doodle a tube, I guess, call that. Tube, again, around the corner like that. So obviously we're getting this angle on the tube, so something's coming in this way, it's going out that way. That's the angle we get on that sort of tube there. And I mean, that's pretty much, they're pretty much the shapes that I would recommend you practice with. So practice doodling these sorts of shapes from a variety of angles and perspectives. I wanted to, in this particular lesson, to I guess, doodle a box. So we've got a box, obviously three-dimensional. Now, a two-dimensional box will kind of look like this. And there's the lid. So this is a 2D box. And this box here is a 3D box. And if you wanted to doodle a lid here, you could just do something along those lines. And there's an arrow coming out of the box, and again, there's an arrow coming out of this box. So that's the difference. But the question is, does a box, a three-dimensional box like this, compared to a two-dimensional box, does it get a different message across? Or is that pretty much the same thing? I guess that's really what you would need to consider when creating your doodles is it the same? Does it add more variety to my doodles? Does it make them look more effective? Because obviously it's far easier to doodle a two-dimensional box than it is a three-dimensional box. So I guess you'll really have to sort of keep that in mind. Another thing that to consider is obviously spheres, like circles. If we doodle an oval or circle, okay, how do we indicate that that is actually three-dimensional? Well, there's one thing that I like to do is just a few simple lines to show that it's three-dimensional. We doodle another circle. We could go more lines like this. That could also indicate that it's three-dimensional. If something's just a circle like that, then without filling it in any way, then you could say that it's flat. You could obviously work with shading and all those sorts of things, you know, to indicate that it has a spherical sort of shape. But that's up to you if you have more time to work with. And one last example I wanted to show you is with a cone. Say, previously we had the cone here, and we showed the bottom of the cone. Now, what I want to do is, how about representing the cone without revealing the bottom? So we want to, again, reveal that this is has a rounded sort of curvy area. So in this instance, actually, let's take this. In this instance, I would just sort of indicate with a few lines, and that sort of gives me the impression that this area is curved, that it does have an actual cone shape. Similar to this gives me an idea it has a cone shape. We could for instance do different sort of lines like that, like that, to indicate that it has a rounded shape as well. So there's a lot of things that you can potentially do to create. Basically what you are doing here is you're creating a 2D object, but you're adding a few lines and you're turning it into a 3-dimensional shape. And that's pretty much it. So I guess for today's homework, for today's lesson, I've written out below for today's challenge. I don't like to call it homework. I've set you to doodle a few things, like a gift box, soda can, the ice cup, ice cream cone, a roof on a house, etc. Whatever you can. Actually, don't worry about specifics with those details. If you can see any of these shapes in your environment, doodle them, try them out, doodle them, get some practice, and yeah, email through your submissions, and I'd love to see them. Check out what others have doodled, and as always, I look forward to seeing you on the next lesson of the Doodle course. Take care.